Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing more than just looking at the news. We're autopsying a fundamental power shift that's happening in the world of technology as we speak.
You know, we like to say we don't just read the headlines, we autopsy them. And that's exactly what we're doing today, because the old rules of the digital world, they're being completely rewritten. And not by your typical coders, but by a new breed, the architects.
And what's really going on here is a new kind of conflict. This isn't about who has the better app or the newest feature. No, this is a battle of fundamental philosophy. It's about design, right from the ground up.
So, this is the core idea we're going to unpack. On one side, you've got the hacker. Think of them as someone who's always looking for a crack in the wall, right? A weakness to exploit. But on the other side, you have the architect. And they're not interested in patching cracks. They're redesigning the entire building from the ground up, making those old cracks totally irrelevant. All right, so let's get into it. And to really understand this shift, we're going to start by witnessing what might just be the final, kind of humiliating defeat of the old guard, the hacker. Okay, picture this, a huge Wall Street heist, just last night. A sophisticated hacker syndicate unleashes this incredibly advanced polymorphic malware. We're talking about viruses that literally rewrite their own code every single second. Their goal? To trigger an artificial flash crash and just siphon off millions of dollars in a heartbeat. I mean, against a traditional system, this would have been the perfect attack. But here's the kicker. They weren't attacking a traditional system. The bank's network wasn't just sitting behind some simple firewall. Nope, it was a living, self-healing AI. An architectural AI built on Anthropic's Claude model. And right there, that's where the entire game changed.
Get this, 3.4 seconds. That's all it took. And in that time, the system didn't just block the attack. It did so much more. It detected this tiny micro-anomaly in the data flow, instantly threw the threat into an isolated digital quarantine, a sandbox, and then it autopsied the malicious code live. And if that wasn't enough, it then wrote and deployed a custom patch to fix the vulnerability across its entire global network. The whole attack was neutralized before the hackers even knew what hit them.
And as someone put it, trying to hack a living architecture like this is like trying to punch the ocean. You're just going to drown yourself. And that right there illustrates this new reality perfectly. This event really marks the end of an era. The reactive hacker, well, they've just been made obsolete by the proactive architect.
So, okay, if the hacker is out of the picture, what happens next? Well, the architects are now free to completely redesign our reality. And believe me, this isn't some far-off future thing. It's happening everywhere right now. I'm talking about your phone, the factory floor, you name it.
Let's take Apple, for example. What they're doing is a perfect case study in this architectural shift. Instead of just, updating Siri as an app, they're injecting AI deep into the core of the operating system. They're literally moving Siri from being a superficial software layer into what they call the Siri-Kernel. This is the most fundamental, most guarded part of the OS. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means your phone could start autonomously managing your emails, scheduling your meetings, all while the screen is off, because it's interfacing directly with the hardware. It's a completely new foundation. They're calling it a steel-walled garden.
And it's not just software. Look at Sony. They were hitting what's called the memory wall. Basically, the cost of the memory needed for the graphics they wanted in the PlayStation 6 was making a $499 console totally impossible. So, what did their architects do? Did they try to fight physics? Nope. They went around it. They completely re-architected the solution. They're turning the PS6 into a kind of smart neural image generator. A huge chunk of the chip will be dedicated to NPUs, neural processing units, that will essentially hallucinate more than 60% of the image on your screen. The result? A massive drop in how much expensive memory they need. It's just a brilliant architectural move.
And again, this isn't just happening in the digital space, in code. This new way of architectural thinking is spilling over into the physical world too. Check this out. In an Amazon warehouse, a bunch of humanoid robots running on what are called large action models just wrapped up their first fully autonomous shift. But that's not even the crazy part. During their shift, the robots themselves identified a bottleneck in the floor plan, a design made by human engineers, by the way. And then, completely on their own, they rearranged a bunch of heavy shelving units to make the whole process more efficient. And it worked. They boosted the warehouse's efficiency by 15% overnight.
People are calling this a silent, constructive rebellion. And it really shows us what the next phase is, doesn't it? AI isn't just replacing manual labor anymore. Now that it can literally re-architect its own physical environment, it's starting to take over the jobs of, middle managers,
process analysts, the people who used to do the thinking and planning.
Okay, so this architectural shift, it's bigger than just a few companies. It's now escalated beyond corporate strategy. We're now talking about a global war for the foundational resources that literally power our world.
And talk about a power play. In what you can only call a ruthless move, the Nvidia-Microsoft alliance has gone and pre-purchased the entire global supply of the most advanced 1.4 nanometer chips from TSMC. That's the world's top chip foundry. And they've bought them all up right through 2028. This basically creates a global silicon famine for pretty much every other company on the planet. Startups, AMD, Intel, they get nothing.
So you hear that quote, AI needs oxygen to survive. That oxygen is compute power, and now the valve is in one company's hands. And that's the key takeaway here. Hardware isn't just a consumer good anymore. It's a scarce strategic asset. And you can bet this is going to cause a massive price surge for everything, from the funding AI startups need, all the way down to the price of your next gaming GPU. It's simple, really. When the architects buy up the entire quarry, no one else can get the stone to build.
While that's happening, there's also a war of internet philosophy breaking out. You have companies like Samsung and Perplexity who are trying to build this open ecosystem, right? A bunch of small, specialized AI agents all working together. But Google, they're going the other way. They're doubling down on their God agent model. Their whole quantum brain project is about making their AI, Gemini, this one massive, all-encompassing thing that does absolutely everything for you. The goal, of course, is to make sure you never ever have to leave the Google ecosystem. This is a fundamental battle that's going to rewrite the very source code of the internet.
So as these titans, these new architects are building these new, seemingly impenetrable realities, from the silicon all the way up. They're rewriting operating systems, they're re-engineering supply chains, they're even redesigning the physical world around us. And that leaves us with one last and maybe most important question. In a world that is being built by architects, do we, you and me, the people who have to live in it, do we have any say in the design?